Sonic Mania is bloody brilliant. There's your review. 5 out of 5. Best Sonic and Knuckles. GOAT. Blast processing, etc. I know it's great, you know it's great. Everyone and their mum has reviewed this game. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different with this video. Little did I know how much the original Sonic the Hedgehog would shape my future back in 1991. How important it would become to me as a gamer. The classic series of 16-bit games effectively ended in the mid-90s, and subsequently underwent the transition to 3D games, with mixed results, shall we say? And as a side note, to all those claiming that all 3D Sonic games are awful, and only the 2D games are any good, Sonic Blast, garbage. Sonic Labyrinth, trash. Sonic Drift, rubbish. Sonic Drift 2, crap. Tails Sky Patrol, shite. Knuckles Chaotix, okay, I'll let that one slide. But the point being, there are bad games regardless of the addition of the third dimension, but the quadrilogy of Mega Drive games are still all-time classics, and while the Advance and the Rush games did partially fill a hole, let's just gloss over Sonic 4, shall we? We never really got a true successor to those original 16-bit games. Until now. Sonic Mania is a collaboration of Christian Whitehead. Okay, I just realised this is becoming the exact same review video as everyone else. If you're watching this, you most likely know all of the origins of Mania already. Now where was I going with this before? Oh yes. Sonic Mania is stuffed to the brim with 90s Sonic and Sega references. By simply playing the game, I could feel the love put into the tiniest details, everything from the artwork to the nuances of the game mechanics. But one thing I have noticed among the many compilations of Easter eggs and references that you probably missed, you can't see me right now but I'm doing air quotes, is that they are almost all primarily visual tidbits. You know, animations, messages, and objects that reference past games or Sega properties. But for me, there were also many moments where my ears pricked up, and I found myself thinking, hey, that sounds like that other thing. And frankly, I delight in that feeling of delving deep into my memory and putting together pieces of an auricular puzzle. Remember when we used to comb over every inch of Sonic 3's soundtrack looking for auditory connections to Michael Jackson? I loved that shizzle. So anyway, I've taken it upon myself to point out all the oral Easter eggs I could find in Sonic Mania. Just as a warning though, this list is by no means complete, and I'm bound to have missed a few things. Also, some of the music related references may blur the lines between fact and opinion when we're talking about possible inspirations. Just something to bear in mind. And while I did wait until the PC version of the game was released to upload this video to give everyone a chance to play it, and DRM issues aside, I'm still obligated to point out that spoilers pervade throughout this video. You have been warned. Also, before anyone tells me I don't know what I'm talking about, yeah, you're right, I have no experience in sound design. If you boil this video down to the basics, it's just a bloke going, thing X sounds like thing Y, coincidence? Ellipses question mark? So yeah. Anyway, enough digression. Let's finally cut to the chase. Now don't worry, I'm not going to go over every damn sound effect. Hey, did you know the ring sound effect is from Sonic 1, and the jump sound effect is also from Sonic 1? But here are some of the more uncommon ones you may have heard before and not realised. In Chemical Plant Zone Act 2, the bouncy chemicals make a similar sound effect to the mushrooms in Sonic & Knuckles' Mushroom Hill Zone, and the additional noise made by the green chemical is taken from the bouncy floors of Sonic CD's Wacky Workbench. And the squidgy noise made by the purple lift panels and the syringes is the same as the falling Puyos from Mean Bean Machine, possibly a bit of subtle foreshadowing. The Daytona-inspired Hornet vans from Studiopolis Act 1 make the same sound effects beaming Sonic around as the sewer pipe warps from Sonic Spinball's Toxic Caves. And in Act 2, the funnels make identical sounds as these lifts from Sonic Advance's Casino Paradise. And it's a commonly reported one, but after beating Studiopolis Act 2's boss, Eggman's pirate TV station emits a faint droning noise, which is the same annoying buzz that plagued the disastrous stream of the 25th anniversary party, as referenced by the date on the TV. Well, at least Sega can laugh at themselves. I wonder whose idea it was to include this. Maybe it was Mike Pollock's.
Quick impression, the live stream!
The Heavy Shinobi of Press Garden Act 2 doesn't just share his name with the classic Sega series, his unique sound effects are all taken from the Revenge of Shinobi on the Mega Drive. When facing Metal Sonic in Stardust Speedway, he actually only jumps once at the start, but this jump sound effect used is the same one as Sonic's from Sonic CD, which is also where Metal made his debut. And in that same boss fight, Silver Sonic from the 8-bit version of Sonic 2 makes a cameo, but he likewise uses Sonic's own sound effects from that very same game. Now here's a strange one. If you hang on a hook in Hydra City and press left, 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 right, 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 up, 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 which is the level select cheat from Sonic & Knuckles, the hand booster devices will change their sound effects to this. This is a reference to YouTuber Video Game Donkey, as seen here talking about Sonic 3 in his Best of 2016 video.
Look at this shit! I didn't even know there's that many goddamn colors in the fucking rainbow!
I have no idea why they put this in the game, but it does make me wonder what else is hidden behind cheat codes waiting to be uncovered. The Heavy Magician from Mirage Saloon has a few unusual sound effects. While I can't quite place the top hat raising noise, it does remind me slightly of the jumping sound effect from Sega's arcade game Flicky. And then when facing her as a boss, she summons illusory versions of Fang the Sniper, aka Knack the Weasel, Bean the Dynamite, and Bart the Polar Bear. While they've only appeared together in Sonic the Fighters before, excluding cameo appearances such as the Shenmue capsule toys, the sound effect used when they appear is the sound of 8-bit Sonic losing his rings, a reference to Fang's 8-bit origins as his first appearance was in Sonic Triple Trouble. Just to go off on a slight tangent, while I was doing research for this episode, I found out a few curious things regarding these characters. I always assumed Bean the Dynamite was the same character from Dynamite Ducks. Well, that's not Bean, that's Bin, who is his dad. And just to confuse things even further, in the arcade game, Bin and his two-player variant Pin are the pets of Lucy, the damsel in distress. But in the Master System port, Bin is her boyfriend called Michael Bin. So if this is true, how did he have a bird son? I don't know, but I have a horrible feeling bestiality is involved somewhere. And considering the title of this game, I assume they were, ducks. Well, it turns out they're woodpeckers. I mean, I guess that makes sense going by Bean's attacks in Sonic the Fighters. Plus, ducks don't have long tail feathers like this. Oh jeez, what the hell am I doing? I'm comparing actual animal anatomy when looking at a series about a super fast blue hedgehog. Oh, and get this. Remember how I mentioned Fang's localized name was Knack the Weasel? Silly old me assumed that, oh, he must be a weasel then. Wrong. So what is he? A dog? An otter? A shrew? Nope, he's apparently half wolf and half jerboa. Oh Jesus Christ, I'm slipping down the Sonic fan rabbit hole. Next stop, DeviantArt recolors and Rule 34. When facing the Heavy Rider at the end of Lava Reef, you can hear children cheering, "Yeah!" when she jumps over the flamethrowers. While not identical, it's very similar to the sample in the intro of Sonic CD's Palm Tree Panic. The Amy dolls from Metallic Madness Act 2's boss giggle when they grab hold of you. This is the same giggle heard when the real Amy does this to you, also in Palm Tree Panic, which was her first appearance in the series. As Sonic screeches around corners at Mach 3 in the special stages, it plays the same noise as Sonic changing direction in Sonic Spinball. If the announcer from Time Attack mode sounds recognisable, it's Takanobu Mitsuyoshi, classic Sega composer who worked on such games as Virtua Fighter 2 and Shenmue, but also sang vocals on Burning Rangers and Daytona USA. A very nice addition that shows how the Mania team are going the extra mile. Finally, approaching spoiler territory now, here's a reference not from a past game but to a future one. Here's the Sonic Forces E3 trailer. Does Infinite's attack sound familiar? It should do, as when the Phantom Ruby in Mania is activated, it makes an identical sound. Does Infinite's power come from the same Ruby? We'll have to wait and see. Now we're getting into the good stuff. I was a fan of T-Lope's Sonic mixes on his YouTube channel, and yes, I'm aware of the hipster-esque undertones of "I liked T-Lopes before he went mainstream," but once I heard some of his original demo compositions 4.5 years ago, I was baffled why he hadn't been picked up to do a full game's official soundtrack. Well, turns out he had, and that game was Major Magnet. But then it was Sonic Mania, taking inspiration primarily from the Japanese/Euro version of the Sonic CD OST, with subtle nods here and there to other titles, but using wholly modern sounding percussion and instruments, unlike the feline mewling of a certain other game's soundtrack. T-Lopes, in my opinion at least, absolutely knocked it out of the park with this soundtrack. The new compositions, particularly the boss battles, sound fantastic, and the classic stage remixes are given brilliant new flourishes, such as the Tropical Samba solo in Green Hill, the gently weeping guitar in Lava Reef. So good! But let's take a closer look at some of the tracks. By the way, I was just kidding about Major Magnet. It's a great little game with a very funky soundtrack. I have to admit, the first time I heard the title music, Discovery, whose title is a reference to Mania's prototype title, Sonic Discovery, I wasn't immediately won over. But I did find it to be a bit of a grower, and what did help was the pervasive nature of the same theme being woven into other supplementary tracks, in much the same way that Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic 06 did.
Man in his world war is less. And if you want to test him best, bring your best. Don't make me spell it out. Bring your best. Win this world. Try to make your own way. One is all. Win this world. Life is just a game play. Feel the fall when you leave.
But you can hear the same notes of the theme in the main menu, the alternate intro music, the competition menu, the competition results screen, the invincibility jingle, the speed up jingle, the credits, the Super 4 music, and the save select music, Sunshine Cassette. It all helps to make the game feel more of a cohesive whole, which I really appreciated. Also, the save select music brings us neatly onto a neat little reference to Sonic 3's save select music. Here are the opening notes of that track. Now hear similar notes tucked away here. Also, the opening notes could very well be a nod to Sonic CD's Palm Tree Panic. Just to go back to that alternate intro for a moment, while I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, there does seem to be a similarity to Sonic 1's Bridge Zone from the 8-bit version of the game, as can be heard here. Chemical Plant Act 2 is a sweet remix of the zone's theme, but there's a sample of Sonic CD's Metallic Madness zone bridging the music loop. Which complements the stage gimmick also taken from that zone. Also, the siren in the background of the track could very well be the same one from Sonic CD's Stardust Speedway Bad Future. Moving on to the first new zone, Studiopolis, and Lights Camera Action was the first new track to make its debut alongside the reveal of the game at the 25th anniversary party back in mid-2016. And what a fantastic track to open with! From the funky bass line, to the sublime piano, to the superb use of synth, this is one of my favourite tracks in the game. But after a while I started picking up on other tracks from the past coming through. Studiopolis is very reminiscent of Sonic CD, and that's no coincidence, as the brass synth is close to the one used in Quartz Quadrant. Plus the aforementioned bass line is very similar to the one from Collision Chaos Zone. And this bridge, also from Collision Chaos, is almost identical to Studiopolis's. Also, Act 2's Prime Time seems to use a similar beat and instruments to Solenoid Sewer from Major Magnet. Moving on to Press Garden. Now the first act's theme, Tabloid Jargon, was another one that I had to give a few repeat listens to before I liked it, probably because it sounds so unlike any other Sonic level. I guess the complete lack of familiarity made it sound more out of place to me, at least at first. As such, I can't really put my finger on anything that might be referenced in this music. The only thing I can think of that comes close is the mechanical sounds of Ninja Step from The Revenge of Shinobi. However, I may be reaching with that one, or possibly being subconsciously influenced by the presence of those boss sound effects. I don't know. Likewise, I can't place anything specific from Act 2, but hot damn is Blossom Haze one amazing piece of music. I love the Japanese garden theme, and that synth solo is fantastic. It kinda gives me a vibe of Phantasy Star Online, such as the synth from Pioneer 2, or Trick Track Part 2. But I'm sure that's just me, as this is a completely original track, and a damn fine one at that. Stardust Speedway Act 1's music was revealed a few weeks ahead of Mania's release, and while it was a very smooth New Jack Swing reimagining of the zone, fans were left wondering about a certain sample, particularly after T himself teased on Twitter that it was in his possession. Referred to online as that. Seriously, I don't even know how you'd pronounce that without sounding like you're dry heaving. To me it just sounds like a warped yeah noise, as heard in Sonic CD's Stardust Speedway Past, Present, Good Future, and Bad Future. I expected T's T's to be hinting at his Act 2 remix, but nope. A great upbeat version of the zone, but no sample. Reach the end of the level though, and Metal Sonic makes his appearance, complete with his own boss theme, and you guessed it, there's the sample. T's rendition of this classic boss music also sounds more sinister? Or more befitting of the boss stage at any rate, compared to the jazzier version heard in Sonic Generations. Then we come to Mirage Saloon Zone. Let's get the obvious out of the way first. The whistle in the background of all three acts is a reference to the good, the bad and the ugly. Obviously. As a side note, a similar whistle can be heard in Sonic 2's Aquatic Ruin Zone. There's an online theory that this music could have originally been intended for the cut zone Dust Hill, and Dust Hill Zone inspired Christian Whitehead's additional zone for his Sonic CD port, which he called Desert Dazzle. However, this also got cut. Both zones helped inspire Sonic Mania's Mirage Saloon, so it all comes full circle in the end. Skyway Octane is a western-themed homage to Sonic 2's Sky Chase Zone, and there's even a reference to Sky Chase hidden in Mania's music, as can be heard here. Wildstar Pistolero doubles down on the western theme, with banjo, harmonica and old-timey piano. With hip-hop percussion and samples to tie it all together, possibly as a reference to Knucks' hip-hop and rap themes of the Sonic Adventure games. Act 2, Rogue's Gallery, is another original track that doesn't sound like any previous tunes from the series, although it did remind me of a couple of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 tracks, Desert Stage and River Stage. But this is almost certainly unintentional, and probably just a result of both games' tracks being jazz-based. Metallic Madness Act 1 deserves a shout-out for featuring a brand new high-speed rap over the music. Like the original from Sonic CD. Though truth be told, both are pretty unintelligible at first listen, especially while playing the game with sound effects over the top. Considering Sonic CD's lyrics are still debated over nearly 25 years later, we may be waiting a while for confirmation of the new lines. Titanic Monarch is the last new zone, and also the final one, and like Press Garden it has a sound all of its own. An unusual mishmash of a foreboding bass line befitting a final level, especially in Act 2's Steel Cortex. Beeps and machinery-like percussion, as well as the lead synths to suit the mechanical nature of the mech assembly going on in the background of the stage. Plus echoes of a medieval castle by using subtle choir, bells, and in Built to Rule, a harpsichord-like synth. Like with Press Garden, I can't find anything directly referenced in the music, and the only track I can draw a comparison to is Revolution to the Origin Part 2 from Phantasy Star Online. But again, I very much doubt this had any influence on T. What is more likely to be an inspiration is the boss music from Sonic 3D on the Saturn. Something which has only just occurred to me during the final stages of editing. Speaking of bosses, mini-boss theme, Danger on the Dance Floor, while not directly lifting from it, has a similar vibe to Sonic 3's mini-boss music. The Go sample may even be the same one used in Sonic 3's launch bass zone, but with a lower pitch. I've also seen people drawing comparisons with this track and Robotnik's theme from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. The Hard-Boiled Heavies theme, High Spec Robo Go, uses similar samples to Jet Set Radio's Let Mum Sleep. Although this should be no surprise to anyone, seeing as how the Sonic YouTube channel even acknowledges this similarity in the video's description.
Let's look at the funk.
Note that the main melody of this track also appears within the Hard-Boiled Heavies Mischief theme. Although you don't really hear this in-game, as the cutscenes tend to cut off the music rather quickly. If you listen very closely to Eggman Boss Theme 2, in between the opening notes of the intro and before the main melody kicks in, you can just about hear a voice sample declaring, "It's showtime!" This is a reference to Sonic Megamix, a fan hack of Sonic 1 by Simon Tomley, aka Stealth, one of the core team of Sonic Mania. In Megamix you would hear this before a boss.
It's showtime!
Sonic Mania sample has been redone, but this originally came from Street Fighter Alpha 3.
It's showtime! Face it straight!
The main Eggman boss theme, Ruby Delusions, kicks off with a laugh, just like the boss music of both the US and Japanese versions of Sonic CD did. Also in the background of the opening, you can just about hear those Metallic Madness samples again, except here being used in an ascending scale rather than a descending scale. The Chemical Plant boss, Mean Bean Machine, also starts with Eggman's laugh, presumably as a fake out, but then becomes a full-blown remix of the two-player versus theme from, you guessed it, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Which is itself a slightly altered version of the track Final of Puyo Puyo from Puyo Puyo, the original Japanese release. Plus it was also remixed in the 15th anniversary Puyo Puyo game as Satan's theme. Also, if you listen closely, the bass line is the same as the boss themes. The main melody of Ruby Delusions is also heard in the final boss music, Ruby Illusions. But there also seems to be a reference to Sonic 3's final boss theme, Big Arm, within the track. Here's an observation made by YouTuber Wan Chun San. The special stage theme, Dimension Heist, in places bears a slight resemblance to two Puyo Puyo melodies. Firstly from Sticker of Puyo Puyo, aka Mean Bean Machine's exercise mode, and Puyo Puyo 2's Area A, which was remixed into R's battle theme from Puyo Pop Fever. Finally, going back to spoiler territory, the true final boss music, Egg Reverie, contains another reference to Sonic Forces, specifically its theme Fist Bump, which a lot of people have already pointed out, but I felt I should include for completeness sake.
Together we can show the world what we can do. You are next to me and I'm next to you. Push me on through until the battle's won.
Also, the secret Knuckles and Knuckles ending has a piece of music absent from the sound test, and it's from the title music of Knuckles Chaotix. If there's one thing that did slightly disappoint with the soundtrack though, it's the 1-Up jingle. While it is a redone version of the jingle heard here in Sonic 3, here's something you might not have noticed. In the original quadrilogy, the Extra Life jingles contain subtle nods to their own title themes. Here, take a listen. Here's Sonic 1's title theme. And its Extra Life jingle. Sonic 2 used almost the same theme, so no surprises there. Sonic 3's theme. Extra Life. Sonic and Knuckles. Extra Life. Get it? So that's why it would have been cool for Mania to also have a new jingle that reflected the theme. Hell, I can make one up right now. And then afterwards add a few drums, boom 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 boom, done. But the same jingle was also used in a certain other game. So I suppose they're just following suit after that. Also, hands up who else was a tad disappointed at the lack of a stage medley during the credits. Minor nitpicks aside though, T-Lopes did an incredible job with Mania's soundtrack, and is destined to go down as one of the best in the series. By the way, if you own Sonic Mania, I highly recommend collecting enough silver medals to unlock DA Garden, where you can listen to the music at your leisure. Incidentally, does anyone know what DA stands for? Was it ever explained? Truth be told, this video has gone on way longer than I anticipated due to additional comparisons occurring in my head, more things being brought to light on online forums, and that's not even mentioning the non-audio related stuff like unused 3D models, fan characters born from misinterpreted sprites, PC mods changing up the game already.
Oh no! Oh no!
And who knows what else is to come. If there's one piece of advice I can give though, it would be to just get stuck in with debug mode. You never know what you might find. For example, how many of you even encountered this form of the Heavy Rider? although just be wary of crashing the game if you're messing about with it. Like this. Or this. Well, you get the idea. But anyway, to close us out, here's the Portuguese prodigy's own rendition of Sonic 4 Splash Hill Zone Act 1, so we can enjoy the reverie of a soundtrack that never was.